Welcome, everyone. You're listening to the Expressed and Orgasmic Living podcast, the show that teaches you how to go from feeling stifled and suffocated in your life to expressed and orgasmic. Here you will receive tips on how to honor yourself, fulfill your desires, and feel truly alive again. I'm your co-host, Renee Faith, Orgasmic Soul Freedom Coach.
And I'm your co-host, Sherrie and Renee, Life Expression Coach. Welcome to this week's episode.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Expressed and Orgasmic Living. I am your co-host, Renee Faith, Orgasmic Soul Freedom Coach.
And I am your co-host, Sherrie Linnell, your Life Expression Coach.
And today, we're here to talk about being low-key unhappy, right? Like, how many of you are kind of just walking around feeling like a zombie, like just driving your kids around,
going through the motions of every day,
going through the motions and not really being present in your body, present to any joy, right? Not feeling like, I don't know, maybe feeling a little bit numb, mildly depressed.
Yeah. Just feeling like slightly apathetic.
Yeah. And the reason we're inviting all of you to check in with yourself and see if you're sitting in this energy is because we're just so committed to the women, the moms in our lives being happy, right? And I'll just share the larger context. So the reason I wanted to bring this up, I told Sherrie I wanted to talk about this topic and help women identify whether or not they're super low-key unhappy and what to do about it, because I had a conversation on Friday this past week with some moms that I feel close to, and they revealed to me, Sherrie, that they legit would have left their husbands if they had a job. So these are homeschool moms, right? I'm a homeschool mom. These are all full-time homeschool moms that I'm close to. And it made me super sad because they're not the only ones that have wanted to leave their husbands. Like over the course of, the 3 years that I've been homeschooling full time with the kids, I've had so many moms say to me, like, I'm struggling in my marriage and I'm not okay, but I can't leave because I'm not financially stable to leave and do this on my own. Because when you're homeschooling, there are part-timers and full-time working moms who do homeschool, which I think is like wild, but they make it work because they have to. But the homeschool moms in the community I'm in, they're all full-time homeschoolers, one single income households. And so they feel stuck. And that just makes me super sad. I got real present to that. Lack of joy. Yeah,
I can relate. I can definitely relate to that. Even like with my husband, I felt the same way. Like, only reason why I haven't left is because I don't have the money. I don't have the money. And you had brought this up offline about doing the work, that we're doing the work to move forward and to grow. And once upon a time, Phil wasn't doing that. My husband wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing any inner work. He was just going through the motions, waking up, going to work, and going to bed, going to work, but not doing anything to improve the quality of his life. Which was something that I do every day when I wake up. And from the time I wake up until I go to bed, I'm doing something that's improving the quality of my life. But now he's there, he's asking the questions, he's doing the reading, and he's on board. He's on par with my pace, so it makes it easier for us to stay together and stay connected.
That's one of the big reasons that a lot of the moms I know are unhappy, right? Because a lot of the moms I surround myself with understand this inner work and healing is so necessary, and their husbands don't, like you said, don't follow suit and evolve along with them. So then there's this huge disconnection, right? So that's definitely one of the reasons. I think there could be other reasons, I think there could be just financial stress. There could be lack of support in general, not just with the healing stuff, but in general. So I want to talk a little bit about like the symptoms, like how do these our listeners and viewers recognize that they're low-key unhappy and mildly depressed? Because it's hard to catch it when you're mildly depressed. And I think that's where I was for so many years.
Yeah.
It wasn't until my adult life when somebody had reflected that back to me that, you know, it was actually a psychic. I don't go to psychics anymore, but this was like back in 2016 or so. And this lady that channels the Cosmic Christ, and she had said, no, you've been depressed for a good part of your life. And when I really sat with it, I was like, oh, just that little lull.
Yeah.
That can last for weeks or a little more than just a couple of weeks. Like that little lull of feeling, I don't know.
Like you're dying inside?
Not dying inside, because that wouldn't feel so mild, right? But more like just a little numb.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just a little coasting, just a little, maybe like, let me just sit back and relax. And I just need to, like that. It was, you know, I'm not articulating it right, but that for me was mild depression that kept showing up throughout my life. And I never labeled it as such. So I couldn't address it properly. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some ways our moms, our listeners can identify what they're feeling. Like, what are the symptoms? You talked about walking through the motions.
Yeah, walking through the motions. Some of the symptoms could also be like you just don't care too much about anything. You have like this little twinge of apathy.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't care.
Yeah.
You just don't care. And
it's like being a shell of a being, almost like
yeah, like you're a living ghost. You know, just you're just here existing.
You're just here.
You're just here. You're just existing, and sometimes that could be good, but in this case, it's not a good thing. It's not a good feeling to just be existing. So yeah, I mean,
not feel alive. Perhaps not feel, I don't know about this one, not feel useful. I don't know.
Well, yeah, not feeling useful, not feeling like you have a purpose. You know, you're just existing. You're just here. You're just here, and everyone else is doing all the things that they're doing, and you're just here. Right?
Yeah. And you know, a big symptom that brought my unhappiness from low key to visible to my kids was me crying in the bathroom all the time. I remember it was 2019. This is before quarantine. 2019 was like right around the religious exemption repeal, which forced me to homeschool both my kids. A lot was happening right around that summer of 2019. Because I was going to homeschool full time, I had to leave my business. So that was financial stress. And then there was a couple of other things going on. And I just didn't feel supported by my spouse, right? Like I just felt alone. All these decisions were on me. He just wasn't involved. And so everything was on my shoulders, and it was just a lot. And I was grieving my identity as an entrepreneur, right? Like I was shutting down the business to homeschool 2 kids in higher grades. And so it was a lot. And my release was crying in a bathroom. Yeah. So if you're doing that, then, you know, definitely need to like look at yourself.
Time to reevaluate what's going on.
Time to reevaluate. And I didn't, because it was like, for me, I had to get myself together to homeschool the kids. I had, you know, because that was back against the wall, no choice. I can't let my kids go to school because I'm not vaccinating my kids. And so, but I shoved it all under the carpet after I got myself together to move forward. I distracted myself with homeschooling, organizing field trips. I distracted myself with like, you know, diving deep into the homeschool community and a whole new world, really. Right? Like I left all my colleagues and all my whole audience and just dove in, put the blinders on. Yeah. Right. Because the grief was hard. I grieved for 6 months. Grieve. I mean, that was partially my ego, right? Grieving my identity as an entrepreneur. And, but I shoved it under the carpet for 3 more years before I left my husband.
because you like you said, you were distracted. You're actually distracted by the homeschooling and pouring everything into that, not at all paying attention to what your needs were.
What was making me unhappy, which was the lack of support from my partner in these decision making and the transitions, and the emotional support. It just wasn't there. Like he just, he couldn't connect with me in these ways and show up to lead, the family. And so I don't want our viewers to do that. Like, I don't want you guys to waste 3 whole years or whatever, however much time, not honoring your needs and your joy and your happiness.
Yeah, because that's not fun. That's so not joyful. It's not fun at all.
And not expressed.
Not expressed at all. And, even for, moms who have careers.
Yeah.
Before I met my husband, before I had my 2 youngest children, I held the job as a junior accountant. And I did everything. I did all the accounting courses. I did accounting in high school, went to college for accounting. I did all the things, but I'll say it again. I literally was dying inside because I hated accounting. It's tedious work. I mean, this job is perfect for somebody else other than me, right? But because I wanted to be seen as this person who's got their ish together, like my sisters got their ish together. They know what they're doing and where they're going, from college and on and beyond. And here I am as an entrepreneur mindset. I was dying inside because this is not what I wanted to do. I'm a creative.
Yes.
I need to do something that's creating something brand new. Yeah. Not crunching numbers. That's not new.
It's soul crushing for you.
It's soul crushing. Exactly. So I kept getting fired a lot too. Yeah, I got fired a lot too because, in part because of undiagnosed bipolar symptoms. But I got fired a lot on the strength that it got boring. The work got boring and I would zone out and just do other things on their company time. I'm on Facebook. I'm doing everything else other than the accounting.
It wasn't for you. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. And then I would start a new job. It'd be exciting. Yeah, I got a new job, got the great perks and all this other stuff. But then at the end of the day, there's a general ledger in front of me. There's QuickBooks in front of me. And I need to balance this and balance that. Meanwhile, I'm unbalanced. I need to get out of here. So
let's talk about the cost of remaining in soul crushing situations and unhappy marriages.
You know what the big cost is? You'll find yourself comparing yourself to those who you perceive as living a happier life.
Okay. Yeah. I see that.
And then that gets you into a bitter place.
Resentment. Okay.
Resentment and bitterness. And another cost is just that you tend to get stuck because you don't have a way out. You feel like you don't have a way out. Yeah,
the longer you stay, it's true, right? You can downward spiral and start to feel super helpless and powerless.
Yeah.
It's soul crushing. It is, and of course the other cost of it, and we've talked a lot about this cost and all the other episodes, is your health, right? And also for me, the cost was the mental health of my kids, because my daughter would witness me. I mean, I would close the bathroom door if I'm going to be crying in the bathroom, right? But she would hear sometimes, and I didn't realize how much it had made an impression on her until we were at her school one day. This is when they were going to school for the 2 years they were attending, and it was kindergarten for her. And she had said in front of the teacher and the director of the school, "Oh yeah, mommy's always crying in the bathroom." I mean, super embarrassing, but also super shocking that it made a deep impression on her.
Yeah.
And I just want my kids to be grown adults, think back on me and go, yeah, my mom was happy.
Right.
right? And that gives them permission to be happy. I don't want them to think this is the norm.
Right.
Like women, moms, should not be sucking it up and being unhappy, low key.
Yeah.
While they're driving the kids around and feeding them. And that's not a way to live. And ultimately it will impact your health. I'm lucky in that, well, I manifest things in my body and I work through things really quickly. But for other people, they'll hold on to all this unhappiness and then it'll manifest as disease.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I can relate to that for sure. Having pain in my lower back. I said in the previous episode too, pain in my throat. This is me suppressing my voice and not saying things and not communicating things that I feel would be of benefit to me, but I keep my mouth quiet. So therefore my throat starts to hurt because I'm avoiding speaking. And it's like weird how that happened, very weird. I actually started getting a sore throat yesterday, and it was because I didn't have the meeting that I was supposed to have with my family about responsibilities, their individual responsibilities. I didn't want to deal with the backlash of back and forth, especially of my kids. So when I did decide to speak up on it, I didn't feel the pain anymore. I didn't feel the pain anymore. I spoke up on it and action was taken and we're happy and I don't have a sore throat.
Yeah, it can be that fast. Like listen to your body as well. Make those connections because it's all revealing to you what balance you need to create in your life. Right? So you honored yourself by sharing that truth. Otherwise, what's the alternate scenario? Like you would have had it pent up.
Oh, I would have resented each and every last one of these people in my house.
Until you blew up, right?
I've blown up and threw things away and out the window, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but instead you're practicing flexing your mastery muscle with verbalizing your needs.
Yes.
So that you could shift your energy back to what?
To being happy again, to joy, not thinking about it too much or not. I can't find the right word, but like
I say peace.
Simple as that. Peace. Yeah.
Right? Which is a more expansive energy, which invites joy, lightness.
Yeah.
So we talked about the symptoms, what it would look like to be low-key unhappy, mildly depressed. We talked about the cost, which is it can show up in your body. It can impact your health negatively. Right?
Yeah.
And also the cost with our kids, like it's going to impact them and their mental health as we role model for them all this unhappiness and sucking it up and shoving it under the carpet.
And there's that pressure. We have that pressure too to keep our kids mentally healthy while we are trying to keep ourselves mentally healthy.
Right. So that's, not putting your kids before you as well, because you can't serve them well until your mental health is on point, right?
Right. Can't pour from an empty cup. As cliche as that sounds, it's what I say all the time.
Yeah.
If you can't pour from an empty cup, I need to fill my cup first so that I can pour into you. And that's not just for my kids, that's in any situation.
Yeah. So what can our listeners and viewers do?
Well,
to start to shift that energy back to peace and power and fulfillment.
I'm always going to say this. Number one thing is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries with other people and with yourself. Yeah. Having the discipline to honor yourself and
boundaries are huge.
Yeah. Everything starts with boundaries. If you're lazy, if not lazy, but if you're lax with your boundaries, you end up not doing what it is that you want to do. You're ending up doing things for other people. You're putting other people first.
And it could be a simple request like, I need a day off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, I need a mental health day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I set those boundaries with my kids' school. I mean, albeit it may not work in my favor too well, but they get the point. When my daughter is not feeling well, and not physically well, but mentally well, you know, when she says, I need a break, I can't go to school today, Mom. I'm like, okay, fine. You know, she needs her day. So you have to log into this attendance system, right? And you put in there who's being absent, what date, and a brief reason to why they're sick or whatever. So I always say, my daughter's taking a mental health day.
Yeah, it's great. And I love that we're trying to normalize that.
Health day. And she's had a few since the start of school, because it's a different grade, different expectations are pressed on her. And she was just trying to take it all in, and it was just overwhelming for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put the boundary there with her that you are allowed to take mental health days. I could care less about the state's requirements about how often you need to be in school just to pass some state stuff. I don't care. Your well-being is my utmost importance, you know? So, and it brings you back to peace. I don't feel stressed about it. You know, I don't worry about these things like the repercussions of having her home more than legally required or whatever. I don't feel that way because I have that boundary. Like, this is what it's going to be. Period. End. What else we can do? What else can we do about it?
I would invite our listeners to just check in and be like, what do you need?
Yeah.
Like, before you can even verbalize it, you got to get really clear on what do you need? What kind of support do you want? What kind of, like, for me, I wanted a partner. So my soon-to-be ex-husband is, just couldn't show up to be, you know, a leader for the family. So I was leading and making all the decisions and pulling everybody, you know, along. And what was missing for me, what was so unfulfilling, that's another way to phrase it, right? What was so unfulfilling for me was not having a partner. It felt like I literally had a third child. Like, I had luggage and I was the only one in the front pulling everybody along when all I wanted was someone to co-create life with.
Right.
And so I got clear after, you know, more than just 3 years of shoving it under the carpet, but I got clear that I deserve a loving partner who I can enjoy when I'm 80, who I can feel supported by and loved by and have connection with in my old age too, right? That was the other thing. It's like, once the kids are out of the house, do he and I have stuff to talk about too? Like, we're evaluating all of that. And
a true partner, a partner in every sense of the word.
Yes. And everything. Just getting clear and declaring to myself that I deserve better. I deserve the full love that I desire. And I want my kids to see me in a super loving, connected relationship where I'm fulfilled to the brim and over the brim, right?
Yeah. I get it, because my kids are thriving now that they see their mother is in a better, much happier place. My daughter, especially, she's, you know, she's just more bubbly and more herself, you know, and I'm seeing that, like, I recognize it. And that's an important thing too. Something that, to even get started on this, is to recognize and accept that you're unhappy and get to the root of why that is.
Yeah.
Right. And then you start from there and then take action to remedy it. And what helps me is I always go back to this too, along with the boundaries, is setting a goal. And it has to be an attainable goal. something that's super specific. What's it called? SMART goals? This,
I don't know.
the SMART goals is specific, measurable, attainable, and realistic in time, right?
Love it.
So in this case, with being unhappy, one of the things that would make me happy is to be able to take my kids to New York City to go see the tree. We won't be seeing the lighting, but to go see the tree and do some ice skating. So that would make me happy, because that's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to take my kids and my husband. We all just do this family thing. The last time we went to New York was when I did your photo shoot in New York. So that was the last time we done that. And they were so happy. Everybody, we were just together. It's just love, love, love. So we want to do that again. My daughter brought it up. She goes, let's do that again. So I'm doing a goal so that we can have that experience.
Yeah. We're going to do that for Chinese New Year anyway, though. Like, I'm going to take you out.
Yes. Yay. Yeah. So they want to do that. And it's like setting little small goals so that you can have small wins. And then when you have those small wins, you'll find yourself getting to a better place and being happy. And even if that means separating from your spouse, have a goal of what date that's going to be.
Yeah.
And make your plan. You said your moms were concerned about the financial component of leaving their spouse.
Yeah.
Well, set a date of when that date is and move backwards. Find out like where you want, how much money you need to make it on your own, what job is going to take care of that need, and how can you get your foot in that door of that job.
You said some great stuff. All right. So you said some great stuff. So one was identify the root of it. How do you identify the root of it? So I would invite our listeners to question, like, what's missing for me? Where am I not fulfilled? What's missing? What do I need? What do I want? Get in touch with your dreams again and your passions again, right? And we talk about that in an earlier episode, which we'll link to, like, how do you rediscover your passions? But that's so important. Like, find the root, like, where did you stray, right, from your happiness? And once you have that, then actively shift yourself back with what Sherrie was saying, have a plan. So another way, I love your trip ideas. So for me, I might call that like joy activators, right? It's not a major plan, life-changing, like separating from a husband, which I'll get to later. But, these small baby steps to line you back up slowly with peace and joy and fulfillment, freedom, happiness, right? Like, so think about what brings you joy and just add it to your calendar and see your energy shift, and more will open up as you do so. I think more insights around what makes you unhappy, like what's been, what's the core root of your unhappiness. I think that will self-reveal. The more you slowly shift and bring just that little bit of joy. And it could just be like a trip to the city, but it could just be like carving out Fridays for yourself. Right? Hiring a babysitter or whatever you need to do to keep that single day to just be still enough to rediscover your purpose, your passion. Yeah,
have your alone time.
What lights you up?
My daughter takes her alone time every day. She makes sure of it. She set a boundary for everyone. No one downstairs, because she's having her alone time.
Good for her.
Yes, and it can be so frustrating at times, be on the other side of, receiving that boundary, but I respect her so much, and I back her up all the time when when her brothers want to bother her, what have you, or her dad wants to go lay down. Like, no, she's having her alone time. Let her have her time. She does it every day at the same time. Please let her have it. So that makes her happy, and that makes me happy. It brings about peace. Everyone's respectful of each other, and in that way.
I want to circle it back to the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, right? Like, I got really present to how the moms around me, like my friends, are so unhappy. You know, I'm not going to say so unhappy. It's low-key unhappy.
Low-key unhappy.
But it's there, right? And it's consistently showing up. And then the moms, myself included, years ago, it would show up and then we would say, well, I got stuff to do. I'm going to deal with the homeschooling curriculum right now. Shove it under the carpet. I'll deal with not being happy with my spouse later, right? I want all these moms to shift into joy because I want them to be 80 years old.
Yeah.
And happy and look back on their life and go, I led a great life. I lived, I loved, I laughed.
Yeah.
And I showed my kids how to do it, how to live life.
Right. That's right. And you can sit on your porch with your husband, and I envision it happening on a rocking chair or the swing. You know, the swings, the porch swings. Yeah, oh, that is a nice thing to have in the future. To have me and my husband just swinging on that thing, just talking about these times.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, remember in the first 10 years of our marriage, it was like the roughest time. And then we both healed and we got to this place, and like, yeah, that's nice. You know?
So the solution for everyone is not separation and divorce, right? Like that may not be the solution for everyone. For some, it may be, hey, let's just really address this, look at it. Let's seek out therapy, couples therapy, right? A marriage, whatever. So just consider the different options, but we're only urging you now to look at it. No more shoving it under the carpet. Let's address it. Because why? Because you matter. Your joy, your happiness matters, not only for your mental health, right? Not only for your fulfillment, but for your kids too.
Yeah.
So
and there's no better time than now to start, because next year, because 2023 is coming right around the corner. And this will be a good time to really look at this.
Yeah.
And
how many more years do you want to be low-key unhappy?
Yeah.
What are you getting out of it, right?
End that year, this year. By now, today is the day that you're not going to be low-key unhappy. You're going to journey to high-key happy.
Hey, yeah.
High-key happy.
Just get real present to the cost of it. I don't think people are willing to make a change in their life until they're super present to what it's costing them. So for me, it was hearing my daughter tell, strangers, other people, that I've been crying in a bathroom, understanding that she's witnessing my unhappiness. And that's leaving some kind of crazy lasting impression on her, right? For me, it was seeing my daughter look at me and her father and go, I dare you to kiss, because she's never seen us kiss. Super sad, right? So what, for me, that was a part of recognizing the cost. It's showing her what an unhappy marriage is. I don't want her to step into the same type of dynamic in her future relationships. I'm not committed to that. So I had to make a change, right? So it's getting clear with the cost is what will help you step with both feet into a new decision.
It's something that'll actually shake you up, drive you to go forward and do whatever it takes to no longer be low-key unhappy.
Yeah. So, and you brought up action plans. So let's start talking about that. So we said couples therapy is one action plan. If you're really at a different breaking point, then maybe it is separation, right? And trying that out. I didn't have a plan when I finally kicked my spouse out. I didn't have a plan, but I was just at that breaking point where it was like, I need immediate relief right now, because it's built up so much and it's gotten so toxic and our kids are feeling it, and this is not worth it. It's not good. It needs to end now. So I got to that breaking point. I didn't have a plan. The plans are good, right? Especially if you really need to figure out, I'm figuring it out as I go. For me, I'm relaunching this business, and there was a lot of things to consider around, filling the gap between child support, and spousal support and stuff like that. you'll get there with all the details and things will fall in place. If I just want to say to our listeners and viewers, if you're really at that point where you want to leave, but you feel like you can't because that financial piece isn't there yet, I've heard so many stories about how women just take that leap anyway. And then the universe kind of comes in and supports them. You know, there's one mom, there's one story, she left and she just went to live with her parents for a little bit, but then she went into like a cosmetology school or whatever. And now she's able to support her and her kids. Things will flow as it should, and you'll be supported by the universe. Just take that step and choose you first.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is something that my grandma used to tell me. She said, God laughs at plans.
True.
You make plans, God laughs at them because he has a different plan for you. And that could be God, the universe, whatever, you know. But the point is that you would, you know, I think creating a plan gives you a sense of some sort of security that you're going to actually come to an end point, right? But like Renee said, sometimes you just have to like cut it right at the head and just jump out there, right? And when you do that, if you just keep that mindset that you're going to be okay,
have faith,
right? Things will fall in your lap. Things will start happening for you. The job offers will come, right? You're gonna someone that you just meet on the street, or you know, it'll just happen. It'll just happen for you. You just have to have that faith. A little mustard seed of faith can move mountains. That's another thing my grandmother used to say, which I think came from the Bible. I don't know. I don't know my Bible much, but yeah, a little mustard seed of faith can move mountains. So that's.
Love it. I have a quick story. So the story goes, there's a man that keeps praying to God, and he's going, help me win the lottery. Dear God, help me win the lottery, right? Over and over again. It's consistent prayer.
Is that my husband?
And a year goes by, and now he's frustrated and mad at God. Like, I've prayed to you consistently, you know, with devotion. Like, why are you not helping me win the lottery? So God replies back to the man, and he says, son, buy a lotto ticket.
Take action.
Take action. We have to help God help us, right?
Yeah, take the first step.
Gotta take the first step. Choose you. Choose to honor your needs and your joy and your happiness, because your life matters.
It does.
Ladies, your life matters. You matter. You're so important to your children. You're so important, you know, to the world. Like, you don't even know what kind of impact you're having with your family, you know, what God's got planned for you, but you're important. You're here because you're important.
Right. And you are more than just a mom. You're more than a husband, a wife to your husband. You're just innately so much more. And as soon as you find that out, man, how unstoppable will you be? How expressed will you be?
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for saying that, though. Like, I really appreciate you saying that, because it's so true. Like, that should snap a lot of our listeners out of, you know, their funk with their self-worth, right? Like, you're more than just a mom. Maybe you are, you know, probably you're meant for bigger things, right? Like, don't let your dreams die just because you had kids.
Yes.
Right? Yep. You're more, and you matter. I want our listeners and viewers to write down in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, please do write down in the comments, like, what you're getting out of this episode. What are you present to? What's been the cost of you being low-key unhappy? And what are you going to do? What are your next steps? What are your action, you know, plan for shifting back to joy, happiness, peace, power, fulfillment, all that good stuff that you deserve. Right? I hope this has been helpful to all of you. Like, we're here having these discussions for you. So we want to hear your feedback. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's questions or a topic that you want us to address in future episodes. We would love to hear from you. I want to say thank you so much for joining us and watching through this entire episode. We honor you, your value, your power, your worth.
I'm about to say, see you next week, right? You'll be seeing us next week, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this new episode, and if you did, please leave us a like and subscribe. Also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments and visit us on our websites, reneefaith.com and sherrielinnell.com, to learn more about how we can serve you on your journey. All links below in the description. See you next week's episode. Bye now.